Hello again. I have out our orange science book and I am at section C, which we were in last week. We were back further though when we did landforms. I'm kind of hopping around. I hope that is okay with you. These things don't have to be done in order. So I am back at the beginning of our Earth section C, and I really feel like we cannot let the year end without spending some time with rocks and fossils, rocks, minerals, fossils, that kind of thing. So this week, possibly into next week, we are going to spend some time. I went into school last week and I grabbed my big bucket of rocks and fossils, and I thought I just will be heartbroken if we can't dig into this box a little. If you were with me, I would clear a table in our room and we would have the bucket emptied, and there would be rocks and fossils and things for you to pick up and look at and use magnifying glasses on and whatnot. And I know that you would have enjoyed that. And so I'm a little or a lot sad about that. But I do have them here at my house so that as the days go on this week, we can at least see them and I can show them to you. Um, and maybe you have some rocks at home that you could show us too. So I'm kind of turning the page here, and oh yeah, the walls of the Grand Canyon. That was one of the landforms we read about. Grand Canyon is amazing. I was there when I was a young girl. I don't remember a whole lot. I just remember being with my parents and getting out of the car and standing at these guardrails and looking way out there, and you just can't believe how big and amazing this canyon is. Oh my gosh. Um, it's huge. And in the way in the bottom is a river. But the canyon was carved by water. And so at one point, there was water. Way up here, water is a powerful, powerful thing. And when you have a huge flow of water, look at how it used to flow around. When you have a huge flow of water, it carves out land. And these layers in the rock are a story because they're telling you, layers of rock that have piled up over time for whatever reason. So interesting, fascinating. I am not a rock expert, but I find it fascinating. Maybe in another life or something, I could learn more. So I'm turning the page, chapter 5, Earth's Resources. Did you ever wonder, how do caves form? Most caves form in limestone. Limestone is a type of rock. Rainwater creates tiny holes between layers of limestone. Over time, water washes away more rock. The holes grow into caves. Do all types of rock form caves? Well, that is a very good question. And I'll tell you what I know. The basics of it is that limestone is often the kind of rock where you will find caves because limestone is a soft rock, if there is such a thing, right? It's more easily carved and shaped by water. Some rocks are not as soft or as easily moved, maybe, or easily carved out or washed away, but limestone is softer. So I love this illustration. This is inside of a cave, and I love the formations that are formed by minerals left behind from dripping water. If you look closely, I believe there's water, a droplet of water right there dripping. And caves are wet and they're always changing, but very slowly. So if you've ever had the opportunity to go down into a cave and tour it, you'll know that you usually hear running water. You might see wet cave walls. They'll ask you not to touch the sides of the walls because the cave is still changing, and your fingerprints and touching can harm the process of the cave. And so these look like icicles. You know how icicles form is it's water dripping or melting, like say off of a roof, and it just kind of drips down and starts to form icicles. Well, kind of similarly, water dripping. Water contains minerals, not just salt, but other minerals. And as the water drops, it deposits some of those minerals and they start forming new rock formations. These are called stalactites, and formations that form from the ground up are called stalagmites. And like if water drips down and lands here, and it flows over many, 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 many years, it builds up minerals. Minerals are what form rocks. And so it's like new rocks are formed. But until you get inside a cave, gosh, it's so hard to describe. I will definitely this week find some YouTube videos of caves so that you can kind of go in and experience what it's like if you've never been in one. And if you have been in one, I will tell you that probably it's very different than other caves because caves are all different. And if you ever have the chance to tour one, do it. It's really cool. I love caves. All right. Minerals and rocks, some important words: mineral, igneous rock, sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rock. Those are the three main types of rocks. And then all of the rocks can kind of be sorted into those three. So that's what we're going to start talking about today. What is Earth like today? What was it like long ago when the dinosaurs roamed the land? The clues are found in rocks. Every rock has a different story to tell. Process skill. You classify when you place things that share properties together in groups. Sometimes we group things by color or the feel of them or the shape of them, or foods could be grouped according to the nutrients or the type of plant they came from or something, or where they came from. So just looking at this explore activity, if you have rocks at home, or you could go out and find some, right? It would be a good activity for you to do. You can talk about how rocks are alike and different. You can touch the rocks, describe how the rocks feel. Carefully look at each rock and look for lines or patterns. Look at each rock through, if you had any kind of hand lens or something that would magnify. And I know for most of you that's not going to be possible from home, but looking at them up close and something that makes them look bigger might be cool. Maybe you'd even be able to use a function on your phone like the camera function to make things look bigger. I don't know. Did any rocks feel the same? Did any rocks have similar lines or patterns? Describe how the rocks are alike. Describe how they're different. So just getting some rocks out and examining them. Look at the color differences, even without picking them up. Some are darker, some are lighter, some are combinations of colors. Different shapes. You might see streaks and different lines of color in them. They're interesting to kind of talk through. And then you can even go online and try to identify like the rock that you have. Maybe you can find the name of it. So granite is, I think, Wisconsin's rock. Like we have a ton of granite in Wisconsin. So that's a very popular one where we live. So the main idea here is that rocks are made of minerals. What are minerals? Minerals, there are hundreds of different kinds of rocks. Rocks have many different properties. Some are light in color and others are dark. Some are rough and others are smooth. There are rocks that are heavy and rocks that are light. Some rocks are easily broken. Other rocks are difficult to break. All rocks are made from types of materials called minerals. A mineral is a substance found in nature that is not a plant or an animal. Minerals are the building blocks of rocks. There are more than 3,000 minerals. Some rocks are made of many different minerals. Granite is an example of this type of rock. Other rocks are made of only one type of mineral. Limestone is this type of rock. So this is a picture of limestone. And then I had already pointed out that is granite. You can see the different colors in there. Granite is a kind of a conglomeration of different rocks. Not all rocks are hard. Chalk is made of a rock that is so soft you can write with it. But you didn't think of sidewalk chalk as being a rock, did you? But it does just break away, and we write away out on the playground with it. When I was growing up, we didn't have marker boards. We had chalkboards in our classrooms. And even in my early teaching days, we used more chalk, dusty chalk, to write with than we did the marker boards. All right, here's one called hematite. It leaves a streak. You can do streak tests with rocks. If you get some heavier paper out and kind of try to draw with it and see what kind of streak it leaves. Here's a rock called galena or galena. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Some sparkle in that one. A mineral streak may not be the same as its color. Compare the streaks of hematite and galena. So here's a dark a dark colored hematite, but it makes almost a reddish brown streak. And then galena is a definitely not the reddish color, more black. There are many clues that help us tell one mineral from another. They have different colors. They can be shiny or dull. You can compare their texture. Texture is how something feels. Another way to identify minerals is to scratch them. Hard minerals are more difficult to scratch. Many minerals leave marks behind when you rub them on something. The mark is called a streak. I wonder if you could take like a toothpick or something and try scratching the rock and see if you can make a mark on it. I believe some you can and some are not going to so much. Here's a mineral scratch test you can try. It says your teacher will give you 3 minerals. I wish that I could. But you could gather some rocks, predict which mineral will be the easiest to scratch, and then try it. What are they using? It says, scratch with your fingernail, a penny, or a paper clip. Good idea. You could find these at home. List the minerals you tested in order of hardness from hardest to softest. Make a chart that describes the minerals. You could just try this, even just for fun. And if you got out some paper and see if they will make streaks and then scratch on them. You can see that this child is probably holding a paper clip and trying to scratch onto that rock to see what happens. All right, I'm going to hold the rest of this lesson for tomorrow. So when we pick up, we'll be on C8. It's getting a little long here, but I'm going to attach something about caves, I think, today for you too to watch, since we started out talking about those. And then we'll pick up with how our rocks formed the next time.